welcome back to my channel Manga Hoarder. My name is Laura and today I'm unboxing some books. There might be manga in here, but it's mostly not manga, and this is sort of a new thing for me. Or not necessarily new, but it doesn't happen very often, and certainly not in this quantity. I was sick a few days ago, or just over a week ago, and at the time that I was sick and stuck in bed, there was an announcement for the Asian Readathon. Part of what's kind of going on in my mind is that I want to read, and I want to read everything, and I want to read it all right now. And so this sort of came at the right time. In addition to having sort of a fever-addled brain, I also am sort of in this mode that I want to read everything. So of course, the best thing to do to, make me feel better is to buy a ton of books. Because, of course, that's exactly what you need to do when you're sick and not making the best decisions. So I'm going to unbox all of these books. I did buy a couple of things for gifts, so I'm not going to show you absolutely everything in it. But I will show you the box because it's big. Maybe I won't show you the box, it's heavy. Ooh! Alright, here we go. So this is my box. This is my box of books that I'm going to open. It's a pretty big one. There's a lot of books in here. I did get a little bit carried away, but of course that's what happens when you're not making the best decisions. A lot of these books are going to be from Asian authors because I wanted them to be able to be read right away, and since I'm participating in that Asian Readathon as we speak, this was good. Actually, and it was actually really kind of a good idea to buy books because I did actually place a bunch of holds for books by Asian authors just about the same time, I think possibly the day before, day after, that I placed this order, and none of my holds have come in yet. So this was good because it means that I actually have something I can read, and I'm ready to start reading. So I'm just going to open up this box. It's way too heavy for me to, hold up and let you see the whole activity, so you're just going to have to trust the fact that I haven't opened it yet. Not even sure I remember exactly what I've bought, so this will be interesting. It's just full. It's full to the top. So if I had bought any of these books particularly for this Asian Readathon, I will put up what their ethnicity is, or at least, what country they come from. Something like that will be up on the screen so you can know where they're from. I'm not sure that I will know without further digging or, looking them up online again to remind myself, so I can't do that here just because this is just an unboxing. But let's just see what we've got here. So first off, I bought a manga. This is Drifters Volume 4 by Kota Hirano. I have Volume 1 and 2. I'm missing Volume 3, but this was basically 50% off, and so, I am going to buy the series. There's sort of no doubt about that, so I might as well just keep buying it. Which is kind of contrary to the advice that I gave in my I can't remember what it was, hand-me-down tag, where I said don't buy books out of order. I buy books out of order, but I also know that I will buy Volume 3, even if it goes out of print. Even if I have to wait 10 years to find it, I will buy Volume 3. This one I'm really pleased to own. This is The Adventures of Superhero Girl by Faith Erin Hicks. This is, I think it might be a webcomic actually, and it's basically the everyday adventures of a girl who is a superhero, and there isn't a lot going on in her town, and so she really does the great adventure of things like doing her laundry and trying to pay her bills. So it's just really relatable, really cute. I am a big fan of Faith Erin Hicks, and this is personally my favorite of hers, which I didn't own. I think I had used some pictures from this book in my bullet journal like 2 months ago, and that was because I had gotten a really damaged copy from the library, so I'm glad to have a nice copy that I can actually read. So happy about that one. I bought myself an Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express. I think everybody knows what this is. There's multiple movie adaptations, and I had recently read And Then There Were None, one of her other really big titles, and thought I would like to read a little more Agatha Christie. So the first title that I bought for the Asian readathon is Pioneer Girl, a novel by Bilyk Nguyen, and I do believe that's actually how you're supposed to pronounce her last name because I did look it up online, but I could be also misinterpreting it. I think this is about a Vietnamese girl who ends up having to move to North America, to the American Wild West, or the American West, and somehow relates her life back to Little House on the Prairie. So I thought that that would be a cute story. I have a very particular relationship to Little House on the Prairie. That is where my name comes from. The books, not the TV show. And I'm not necessarily always happy about that fact, but it is a truth. so I do have a relationship with it. This was something that I've had in my cart for a while. This is, it's very shiny. This is Orientalism by Edward W. Sayid. I didn't buy this for the Asian readathon, but it is sort of appropriate. It's kind of a critique of Western appreciation of Eastern culture, to say it mildly. It is something that I have thought about quite a lot, particularly because I am so ingrained in Japanese culture and reading Japanese comics, and I, love Japan, and so I always think about, am I taking this a step too far as someone who doesn't belong in that culture? And so this book pops up in my mind quite a bit. I've only ever read excerpts when I was in university, but I thought that it would be high time to read through this book and really kind of contemplate it, because I think now I relate to it a whole lot more than I ever did back when I was in school. Another book that I got for the readathon, this is A House Without Windows by Nadia Hashimi, and probably Afghanistani. Oh yes, so the author's parents were born in Afghanistan and she lives in New York and New Jersey, and this is a story about a woman. I'm not entirely sure what happens to her, and I don't really want to go back into it, but something happens to her where she is sent sort of to this prison, and in this prison she finds a bunch of other women who are basically being held there either to protect them from their environment. It's about a bunch of women who are in prison and are for various reasons, and not necessarily because they've committed this grave crime. It sounded pretty interesting, and I'm pretty interested in reading it, so I thought that would be a good title. And I had told you I was in the mood to read. This is quite the chunker. It's Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I've been wanting to read this for a long time, like probably for 10 plus years. I am familiar with the movie. I've seen the movie. And I've just, it's been on my something I need to read, and I'm never going to read it if I don't own it. So I thought that this was a pretty good edition. It's quite floppy, but it is huge. It's going to take quite a while to read. It's this, epic love saga between Scarlett O'Hara, that's right, and Rhett Butler during the American Civil War. I think that's sort of the loosest definition of the plot, and I'm looking forward to it because, the movies are never capture the novel quite right. And this is a pretty epic novel. It's a pretty epic movie, and you should see the movie too, but I'm looking forward to reading this at some point. The next title I got is Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. I think that this is a Korean author, and I believe that this is a story about two young women who make a friendship only through text messaging. Not entirely sure. So this is my first order on BookOutlet, and I can see here there's actually a sticker on here for Walmart. So I'm assuming that this was sort of like leftover stock from Walmart, and then they sell it at a deep discount, because I think this only cost me like $4, and the sticker on the front says $15, which is a discount from the back, which says $24. So the price is right. I think that this one gets pretty mixed reviews, but actually this one might even have been less than $3. But if the price hadn't been so low and it wasn't such an intriguing plot, I probably wouldn't have gotten it, but because the price was so low, it was so easy to say yes, which is probably why BookOutlet gets you. That's probably how they get you. They just have lots of books and they're really cheap and you don't know if you really want to read them or not. But it's so cheap, why not? So I am going to read them. They might not all be today. This one was also for the Readathon pick, just because it was an Asian author and possibly Asian characters. It sounds fun. Maybe it isn't actually two young women. I thought it was two women. This might be a dude on the front. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I will check it out, read it at some point. Sounded fun. I got a title that's quite damaged, if you can see it. You can see it there. The end, all the pages at the back are all beat up, and it is sort of like the book club questions are all the ones that are beat up, and maybe I can just cut them out. But it kind of makes it unpleasant. Like I'm so picky about how I read things. So this is Helena by Evelyn. Whoa? Wow? I don't know if I've ever actually heard this author's name pronounced before, so I don't know how to pronounce his name. They're the same author as Bride's Head Revisited, as well as some others, and this one looks like sort of a Roman tale. Looked alright. It's a pretty short book. And certainly it's something that I would be interested in picking up, even if it wasn't cheap. But unfortunately, that damage it's going to bother me. So I'll see if I can maybe straighten it out or something. But yeah. Anyway, there's another title. I got another, I think this is a YA book, American Panda by Gloria Chow, I think Chinese author. And this one I don't know anything about except for that I have seen this cover, I have heard people praise it, and because this is actually looks like a type of cover that it's not something I would like, and I've heard so much praise for it that it kind of intrigues me, like maybe I was misjudging this. I don't know what this is about, so I don't even know why I would be judging it. I just don't really like people's faces on covers. Yep. So we'll see. I don't feel like I bought this. This doesn't look like something... I don't remember this, so maybe this was a Fever thing. I genuinely don't remember it, so maybe I have it wrong. Savage by Thomas E. Sniegoski? I don't think I ordered this. I don't know. We'll see. It doesn't matter. I'm in the mood to read, so I'll just read it. Fine. This is a Canadian author, Madeleine Tien. Do Not Say We Have Nothing, and it was a the Giller Prize winner, as well as a shortlisted for the Man Booker in 2016. And I think that this is a story that's sort of like parallel like modern times and sometime like just post the Tiananmen Square massacre incident, whatever it's called. I don't know too much about it except for that I know Sean the Book Maniac loves this book and praises it all the time, and I've been really curious about it. It looked like a cute cover. What am I doing? That's my problem. I don't know why I bought these. I bought 2 romance novels. This is such a silly haul. I don't know. What have I bought? So I bought Do You Want to Start a Scandal? And I know I bought this. It's by Tessa Dare. I know I bought this because the title was so silly. Just sounded ridiculous. And in my opinion, if you're going to read a romance novel, it better be ridiculous. Same goes for this one. Lady Pirate by Lindsay Sands. And I just... oh yeah, the cover. I couldn't... I bought this in preparation of starting to buy a manga series. You will know exactly what it is in a second. The Vinland Sagas. So this is just a short paperback from Penguin Classics. And early 13th century sagas recount Icelandic settlement of Greenland So it's just a kind of early account of the Vikings, and I wasn't aware of it. It sounded fantastic. I'm a big fan of Penguin Classics. I love to buy them, and it's pretty short. And I have been mulling over the idea of buying the Vinland Saga series by Kobayashi, and I thought this would be nice to read in tandem. I bought another Penguin Classic, and this is an author I have bought a few other titles by, Natsume Soseki. This is Sanshiro. I have read Bochan, and I have something about a cat. I haven't read that one, it's quite long, but I have this one as well now, so don't know anything about the work. Sounds like it's a young college grad, and he's trying to find his way among the sophisticates that fill his new life. Just sort of a daily life of someone who's just a new grad. Don't know. I did like Bochan, at least to like some degree. I didn't relate to it at all, but you know, I think it also is of its time and of its culture, so I'm just interested in reading more from this author, and I'm glad to have sort of some accessibility to it. I got another Agatha Christie. This is The Man in the Brown Suit, and there was quite a few Agatha Christie on this site, but I wanted to pick ones that weren't like Poirot or Marple or there's another series, but I can't remember what they are. I think that this one is just sort of like a one-off kind of self-contained story. Doesn't have continual characters, and I think that's sort of what I want to go for, just because Agatha Christie is still pretty new to me. So I thought I would at least pick a title that's not familiar. I don't know this story at all, so I'll check that out. Another title for the Readathon that I picked, A Bollywood Affair by Sonali Dev. I don't know. This one is about a character who lives in India, and she moves from India to study in America, and she's been betrothed to some man, and something happens. I think she's supposed to be, someone's trying to convince her not to marry this man, and she is holding steadfast, like no, this is her duty, she wants to do this. I think that's what I had remembered reading, and it sounded like an interesting take, an interesting premise, and the idea of arranged marriage is just really, it's always such an intriguing concept to me, so I do actually like reading about characters who are in arranged matches like that. Oh, this is another Canadian novel, Rue by Kim Thuy, or Thuy, I don't know. That one I'm going to have to look up. This one says the winner of the Governor General's Literary Award, and I'm assuming, again, a Vietnamese author, lives in Montreal, Quebec, and I think this might even have been translated from French. Let's see. Yeah, translated from French by Sheila Fishman. I don't know too much about it. It looks like it's kind of in an interesting style. All the pages there's quite a lot of space on all of them, so that's interesting. I don't really know what that's about. But I'm assuming sort of an experience of moving to or living in Canada. I don't remember at all. And I've seen this one around, but I don't know too much about it. Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Kong. I don't know where this author's from either. Again, I will put it up on my screen. But I think that this one is about a character who has, I think, maybe like stops working and goes and lives back with their family, and I think some of their family is possibly got dementia, and so it's about like caring for their elderly family. I think that's like a vague memory of what this is, but whatever it was, sounded kind of interesting. A title that I don't know what it's about, it's the 20th anniversary edition, The Red Tent by Anita Diamant. I'm not sure, again. Unfortunately, I should have looked up names beforehand, but this is just an unboxing. It's not an actual haul. And the only reason that I picked this up is because I remember being told, probably from my mother, that I should read this book. So, I'm finally doing it. Mom. Now the reason that I actually was on BookOutlet to begin with was because of this series, and I had recently read the first volume. I've read this series a couple of times and never owned copies of my own, and I thought maybe I should just own the copies. And so that is what's the series called? Is it called anything? The Becca Cooper series, maybe? So these are it's sort of a trilogy of stories from Tamara Pierce's Tortall World. So there's Terrier, and then book 2 is Bloodhound, and book 3 is Mastiff. And it's basically about a girl who, sort of in this like fantastical medieval world, ends up getting hired on as kind of the equivalent of police officers, and she works in sort of the slums because that's where she grew up. In this sort of world, the police officers are called dogs, and so the trainees are called puppies, and so of course that's where the names come from, because she proves herself to be you know, like a terrier, like a whatever. It's an interesting series. I think you can read it out of context of her other Tortall books, which is one of the good things about it. And I really do like Tamara Pierce's Tortall books, and I think that her later works like these ones are actually so much better than her first one. So if you ever wanted to get into Tamara Pierce, this is a good entry into her. She's also got just such an interesting and unique fantasy mind. She's got such a strange sort of elements of magic that I don't think you ever would put together. I've never read other fantasies that I've felt were like Tamara Pierce's work. So, you know, there's just sort of like a thing that everyone kind of associates. This is what magic is. This is sort of how it works. And Tamara Pierce, I feel like, just has a different perspective on that. It's not too heavily magicked, so you do still have to rely on, you know, human abilities, which is great, and this is a fantastic series with a really strong female character, which I love. So I have read that one multiple times, I just have never bothered owning it. And then I've got another title. This one was sort of, these were all like just silly random books, but this one feels even more silly random, and it isn't, because at least it has an Asian author. This is Sea of Poppies by Amitav Ghosh, or Ghosh. Again, an author, I'm not sure where they're from, just off the back here, but it sounds like it's the story of a possibly like slave ship or ex-pirate ship, I'm not really sure. Oh, an old slaving ship. And a bunch of sailors, coolies, and convicts, including a bankrupt Raja, French runaway, and a widowed opium farmer. And so it's, I think, just about these people and their journey together in this boat. Sounded kind of interesting and intriguing, and I really, really liked the cover, which is basically why I picked it. And then the last thing is a manga, or comic. I think it's manga. And that is the Che Guevara biography, a manga biography by Chie Shimano and Kiyoshi Konno. It's a pretty short one, and it was published by Penguin, which is interesting. I have never read it. I have seen this one around for quite a while. I've kind of been standing off because I'm never really 100% sure about things that say they are manga. When they say manga in the title, they often aren't. So I'm still, even though it has Japanese authors, I'm not 100% convinced, but that's what the art looks like. Anyway, it's a different publisher. I've never had any manga published by Penguin in my collection yet, so this is a first for me, and adding a biography is always welcome. So anyway, that's the last thing. I also have about, I don't know, 10 books that are for other people. So this was a huge haul. It's huge. And I don't know. Do you ever regret your own decisions? This is such a stupid thing. So there's some of it. And And then there's another stack that looks just like it, and then another stack for some other people, so that's fun. So this is what I'm doing. Going to be reading a little more prose. Hopefully you will actually hear me talk about it, because if you hear me talk about it, that means I've probably read the books. And that's the plan anyway. I am in the mood to read, so hopefully at least half of these will get read. At any rate, yeah. Let me know if you've ever bought anything on BookOutlet, and have you noticed that, you know, the prices on books cause you to lose all sense of good judgment? I'd be really curious to hear that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.